Welcome to my third video on Photoshop. This one will be dealing with selection tools. It'll be a two-part video within the series. The first video, this one will be dealing with just an intro to the selection tools themselves. The second video will be refining your selections. And then there will be a third video that'll be an example. It's not necessarily part of this two-part series. It's just if you want to see what you can do with the selection tools. They're very important tools within Photoshop. If you want to make adjustments to a very specific area of a photo, the selection tools which you'll use. It also allows you to select specific objects. You can then copy them out of the image, paste them into different images, hence the term photoshopped, where you can add people to a group photo. The tools are broken down into three basic categories. You got your marquee tool, which is the first one, your lasso tools, and then you have these two others, the quick selection and magic wand tools. The marquee tool, the general square, is probably very familiar with most people who've used computers. This isn't a very fine selection, but it's great for if I just wanted to make a new image real quick out of this wind turbine. I can quickly paste it in. If you notice on the lower right here of these selection tool icons, there's a little black triangle. If you click, and the tool, a little submenu will pop up. So you have the rectangular marquee and elliptical marquee, so you can do circles and ellipses. If you press and hold Shift key, then left click and drag, you can make perfect circles. There's a couple other tools here I'm not going to review, available in the marquee section. The lasso tools, these are a little bit more handy for finer selections. So if you're trying to select this blade of the wind turbine, for instance, a lasso tool might be a tool that you'd choose. There are three to choose from. Let's say the first one is the lasso tool. This is a freehand tool, so it's going to be as accurate as you are. You can see I'm a little bit twitchy. I'm using a trackball. If you're using a stylus, it might be a little bit easier to use, or if you're just very good with a mouse, or in less of a hurry, you might be able to make a finer adjustment. The next one, the polygonal lasso tool, might be actually a good choice for this selection because it's a relatively straight object, but maybe not so good for people or objects with a lot of curves or radiuses. You click once and you start your selection. You can drag this line to another point and you click again. Creates another vertex. And if I click a couple times, I make it around the radius, then go ahead straight down here, over to here, and you'll notice a little circle pop up by my cursor. That means the selection is, you're going to complete the selection, click on again, and I've selected this blade out of the turbine. Pretty good selection. There are finer ways to select an object. The next one, the magnetic lasso tool, is a little bit nicer. It's better for objects that are. This tool will automatically follow along an edge, and it's best if the edge is on a high contrast region, such as the white blade against the blue sky here. These little squares represent like little nodes, and they help to refine the selection. If you are going around a radius, you can click a couple times like I had just done there, and that'll help the magnetic lasso tool find the edge. This is more handy when you're sort of moving through an area like this where it's mostly white and the selection tool may not quite figure out where the edge is as accurate as you would like to see it. So it's fairly quick. Again, it's good for objects that have curves and also that are against a fairly high contrast background. The next one, which is the quick selection tool, is a very handy tool. It's more like a paintbrush. So in this one you can just kind of paint along the object. Notice it's very rough at first, and then it kind of snaps to the edge of the object. Again, it'll try to find edges based on contrast in color and tone. Here it's selected a little extra than I wanted. If you look at these icons up at the top left here, you'll see that there's a plain new selection. There's the add to selection. You see the little flag drop down, and subtract from selection. So if I click on the subtract from selection, it almost erases that section of the selection. And now I've refined my selection a little bit better. I can even try to clean up this edge a bit. We'll see how well it does. Does alright. If I can also do that with the other selection tools, but their icons look a little different. This is the add to, this is the subtract, and this is the intersect with selection. So this will select an area if my new selection overlays or intersects with a current selection. But if I'm going to subtract from, I can make a selection here, or cut out a polygon, and it'll remove from that selection. If I want to add, I can add various shapes. The last tool, the magic wand tool, can be extremely easy at times depending on what you're trying to select. If I'm trying to select this blade, sometimes it selects too much. Like in this case, it's selecting most of all the clouds and all the white regions within the image. That's because my tolerance setting here is at 100. If I set it to 1 as the least tolerant, it'll only select areas that are more closely matched to what I click on. So I'm clicking on a white area, it's going to select areas that are of similar tone, similar color. If I select on the blue, it'll select just areas of blue that are the similar tone, similar color, depending. And again, the tolerance of 1 is very intolerant to other colors. If I go to 50, it's going to be a different story. It'll select most of the blue area. If I click on the wind turbine, it'll select most of the white areas. If I click on contiguous up here, it'll only select areas that are touching, as opposed to just any area in the image of the same color tone. And those are the selection tools. The next part we'll deal with refining the selection, and then there'll be a third video with an example. Alright, have a good evening. Bye.